Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are when you're watching this video. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today I want to share with you, as if you come to me and you say, I saw in your live streams that you've been trying to do mosaic crochet. You've started out on this journey and I'm still intimidated by it. What advice can you give me? So that's the kind of video this is. I'm not going to teach you how to do mosaic crochet. I'm going to tell you what I did watch, what pattern I bought. So then you can try the same. So I hope this will be a short video. So let's get started. First of all, I made some notes because I didn't want to forget to tell you something. And afterwards remember, oh my goodness, I still wanted to mention this and that. So I watched the video by Tinna, and I cannot say her surname. So sorry, Tinna. Tor something. But I watched her. It's called #1 Beginner's Guide to Mosaic Crochet. I watched that video. And I did not count stitches. I watched it. And then I thought, okay, that looks doable. I'm going to do that. And I just cast on stitches. I didn't count multiples or anything. And I've done my second blanket now. And I'm not planning in the future to also count stitches. So this is my way of doing it. I just, if I want my blanket that wide or whatever, I just put on so many chains. So as wide as I want my blanket to be. So I watched that #1 Beginner's Guide to Mosaic Crochet, and I simply did what she said. And the pattern that she uses there in that #1 Beginner's Guide to Crochet is called Apache Tears. Now, once you get familiar with the mosaic crochet, you'll be able to recognize her patterns, and you know the names of it because you spend a lot of time practicing it. So that's what I did. Okay, so now I'm just going to put my glasses on so I can show you. Now you're going to, let me put my hooks one side. Now I must tell you, you must note this, if you can do a slip stitch, single crochet, double crochet, and a chain, you can do mosaic crochet. And I compare it to this. I am a person who has a driver's license. I can drive. I know my car. I know how to drive a car. I know the rules of the road, what to do when I'm in a road, what not to do. The only difference is now, if I'm going to visit another city, is I don't know that city. But I know my car and I know what to do when I'm in a road. So the same is applicable here, I think. I know my hook. I know my yarn. I know how to do a chain, a slip stitch, a single crochet, and a double crochet. It's mosaic crochet to me. It's a different way of putting it together than I have done up to now. So that is to me the secret. So if you can think about it like that, somehow it definitely becomes more doable. So this is her #1. I'm going to say hashtag. Hashtag, which means #1, Beginner's Guide to Mosaic Crochet, is the Apache Tears. And this is what mine came out like. I did a baby blanket in this, as I just said. So this is my very first one. Let me just see if you can see. This is what it looks like. Apache Tears. Oh, and I love it. And then I went on to, by the way, okay, so I'm going to tell you this. Then I went on to the second video, which is the first pattern of her Havana Afghan pattern. So she does a little tutorial of that first pattern, and she teaches you how to read her patterns in that tutorial. So that is the second one I did. So the year I'm going to show you, it's the little up and down zigzag. So there it is, like that. You can see it like that. Beautiful. Now please note, if the pattern is white and the background is rainbow, if you want your pattern, whatever color you want the background to be, that must be your first row. I didn't know that, but if you note that, then you know which color to start with. So if you want that pattern to be the rainbow color and your background to be white, so this is rainbow color, but if you want it to be the other way around than it is here, then you must start with white, because then these pieces here will be white. But now if you want it to come out like this, you need your first row must be a rainbow colored row for your background to be rainbow colored. So whatever the background color you want, that's the one row you start off with. Okay, so then this is what I did. I did this and I did that. Now I thought, okay, now I can do this. But now there's so many patterns, which ones do I buy? Now this is what is nice when you have a friend and you can ask someone. And I contacted Michelle Wiley, who is a subscriber of mine and also a Facebook friend. And I said to her, you do so many mosaic blankets, which one will you recommend? So she gave me advice, and she said, the Indiana, she likes that because she thinks there's a lot of patterns in there. If you're a beginner, you can use the Indiana blanket and you can do anything you want with it. I ended up buying the Indiana, the Havana, and the Queen CAL. So I was so excited to learn this new thing, because now I knew how to read a pattern, which is fantastic. I think Tinna, and I cannot pronounce the surname, is a fantastic teacher. So now I want to say I continued with this blanket, and I'm going to show you what I've done using the Queen CAL. So now you can see where I stopped showing you from there on. Let me see from there. Now onwards, let's go onwards. Let me just move my chair back. This is what it looks like. And here is a bit of that pattern again, and a bit of the Apache tears again, and then I ended it off. But that is lovely for a baby blanket, and I loved it. And now let's see. I finished doing this. Now it was time to do the border. And only after the blanket was done did I watch the number 3, the hashtag number 3 tutorial on how to do the double border. It was too overwhelming for me to do it all at once, to be quite honest. That's why I only did the first 2 tutorials and then actually did the entire blanket. And then I thought, okay, now next step in learning this process, watch tutorial number 3. So then I watched tutorial number 3, which was the simple border, and I put it around my blanket. And now let me just also note this. That's why I've got notes, so you can stick to your notes, otherwise I can go off and forget things to say. After finishing the blanket, before I put on the border, you're supposed to make a double knot. Say you work now, obviously if I'm looking at it, it's from right to left. But if you're looking at it, it would be from this side to this side, from right to left. So as I'm looking at it from right to left, on your right hand side, you're supposed to take every 2 strands and do a double knot, the entire side of the blanket. But I did not have to do that, because years ago I watched a video tutorial of Mikey from the Crochet Crowd, and what he would do is he would take a piece of yarn on his let me just take a piece of yarn on his hook, and how you do an is it a slip knot like that, and then I would start with my row. Now that's what Mikey did, and I liked that so much that I decided, you know what, I'm just going to make that part of my repertoire or part of my way of crocheting. And because I started every row like this, I did not have to go and double knot all those little pieces of yarn. So I was really happy about that. So if you start a row making a slip knot, that knot that I've just shown you, for the life of me, I can't think of the name now. You just make a slip, I think it's a slip knot, so that you have a stitch on your hook, and then you start. You don't have to do the double knot. So I was very happy that I saved myself a lot of trouble there. So I then did the slip stitch. Before you do this, the border to sort of, it's the foundation row of your border. Around the entire blanket, you make a slip stitch. You work a slip stitch, and preferably in a contrast color. Now, I'm not sure if you can see, but my contrast color was white, but this is very pale. Let's see if you can see there. It forms a little line. Can you see? So there, it forms a little line there. So my contrast color was white. Now let me show you on my other blanket that I did. On this blanket, the contrast color was a shocking pink. Maybe you can see there is a line going there. See, that is the contrast color. Okay, so now I will show you that blanket in a little bit. I'm showing you the process I went through. So note that this is the front side. The back side of the blanket is only stripes. So when you do your foundation row, you're going to do it around the front facing you. You're going to do your foundation row all around. It's like a frame. That's your foundation row of slip stitches. And you should work it loosely. Why? Why should you work it loosely? And you do it in the same hook size as you did your blanket. Because you're now going to pick up the stitches. You're going to start on the wrong side, and you're going to do the border from here up. Then you're going to turn it around, and you're going to do the border from there, from your foundation row up. And then you connect it. So that's how you do it. And now, because you're working in the front and the back of that foundation slip stitch, it will be tight, which is why you have to work it loosely and start at the back, because the working in the front is easier. So get the difficult part out of the way first. So, and because if you work in the front first, as she says, as Tinna says, then it's going to be so tight, it'll even be worse to work in the back. And if it's in a contrast color, you actually see it better as well, because it is a bit of a problem to see it. So, yes, so I already mentioned that the foundation slip stitch is worked in a contrast color. Now, you will see in Tinna's tutorial that she says, after setting up the slip stitch round on the front of the blanket, only then you go down half a hook size to do the border. Personally, I went down this a full hook size. So if I did it in a 4, I went down to a 3 when after doing the foundation row. Now starting to do the border, I went down a full hook size, but you must do what suits you, what you prefer. If you prefer to do it the way that she says it, perfectly fine. I'm just saying I found that it looked to me like my border wanted to frill a bit, and I didn't want that. So about the foundation row, just note, I really, really wished that I had a hook with a sharp crochet hook with a sharp point, so that you can really get in there. And I know that there's some wooden hooks that do have sharp points. And for this, doing that after the foundation row, the first row of double crochet that you do, or single crochet, depending on whether you're doing a border. If you're doing the simple border, it's just double crochets. But it's lovely to have a hook with a sharp point for that. I know some people say it makes the yarn split, but I'm telling you, this is one time that you would wish for a hook with a sharp point. Then I wanted to mention that with both blankets, I always started doing the repeat pattern. So now I want to show you this. If you see her patterns, I think it's her baby blanket pattern that she also has. If you're doing it exactly like the pattern, great. I didn't. I've made a second blanket and I also didn't, and I don't think I plan to do it because she will show you clearly what part of the pattern you repeat. And all I do is I start with a repeat, and where I end is where I end, but I start with a repeat. So I'm trying to see. You see, like this, like this. Let's take this, this first pattern, this one. I just start there where it says to start, and where it finishes is where it finishes, you know? There, where it finishes is where it finishes. It doesn't matter that it is not, to me, it doesn't matter. That's what I did. I can show you in this blanket. In this blanket, this is the wrong side. Lovely. And let me just go back a little bit. This is the right side. And this is the one, I think it's called the Indiana. I will have a look and then I will put it in the description box. This one, it's so colorful. So colorful. I bought the yarn and I wanted to make it for, it's a Christmas present. Like that. See, like that. There we go. And now I want to show you that, for instance, when I say I start the pattern, this is what I did. I start the pattern at the repeat there. See, I did not start it, even this pattern, I didn't start it where it says, all of them are started at the repeat. I'm not sure if I'm making myself clear. But you start where it says, if she says you repeat these stitches, then those are the stitches I repeated. And if she says you must repeat some other stitches, then that's the ones you should repeat. Sorry, let me just correct myself. You see this pattern, there I started. This is where I started. And I ended obviously on this side. Now you can see where I end. It ends where it ends, where it ends. There's just a half a piece of the pattern. But the pattern starts fully on this side. So that's what I did. These, so there's nothing here on the side, like, well, you will see when you see Tinna's patterns. Some of them have a border beautifully, but I don't want that piece before you start the repetition. For me, it's easier just to do the repetitions. So sorry if I'm taking a long time to, English is not my first language. So to get to the right wording. And when doing the border, I always started in the corner. So let's do this. So I did it a little bit different when I did the border, because the border that was in the pattern to me was a little bit intimidating. Oh, so I was so scared to do it. So I watched the tutorial, which is, let me just see. I always started in the corner. I haven't watched the working in the round tutorial. That is on my to-do list. I'm sharing with you as far as I've come. I've finished these 2 blankets and I think they look great. And so many of my viewers have asked me, how did you do it? What did you do? So this, I'm putting it in a short video to tell you what to do. But for me, I prefer to start in the corner, and at the end of the round, I actually tie off my work and cut the yarn and start in another corner. So what I do is I'm going to just take 2. So there, you see. Let's do it like this. Hold it like this. There you can see what I've done. Right? Like that. Like that. So, like that. Like that. Let me see if I can, there. So, here I start with it, and where this is where the blanket starts, right? So here, where the blanket starts, I'm doing the pattern as if I'm in the blanket. Then I continue around. When I get to the corner, I stop like that. I stop there where the blanket stops. I stop, And I just do my single crochets around to the corner and there until the pattern starts again, and then I start. So if I do it in this way, it means that I can actually do any border. Any of these patterns I can choose as a border pattern and do it that way. And in this blanket I did, you can see that the border, the simple border on the other side, was done in more than one color because, you know, I didn't know how much yarn I was going to use, and I'm trying this out. This is new, and I like the fact that the border is in different colors. So anyway, when I did this, I would work into a corner. When I finished the round, tie it off, cut the yarn as I did for the entire blanket, start in another corner and continue the next round. So that's actually what I did. If it doesn't work for you, just do it the way Tinna did it. I'm just sharing what worked for me. I must say that I'm very pleased that I have come across this Mosaic Crochet, and I was so intimidated for a long time. The only regret I have is that I didn't do it way earlier, and I now go yarn shopping and I look at yarn that I might have overlooked before, and all I see is I stand in the yarn shop and I say, all I see is Mosaic Crochet, you know, kind of potential Mosaic Crochet blankets. I could use that in a pattern and that in a pattern. So personally, I think for me, in my yarn stash, yarns that I sort of thought, I don't know what to do with you. To me now, I look at it and I think I can make a beautiful mosaic blanket out of you. So thank you, Tinna, for your wonderful tutorials. I so appreciate it. And I'm very happy with my blanket that I did. This is going to be my, well, I told you already, this is going to be a beautiful Christmas present. I can't say to who because it's not Christmas yet. And I'm excited to make many more. I'm glad that, I was incredibly afraid of trying this pattern in the border, but I think it is the most gorgeous thing. It just rounds it off. Tinna, all your words in your tutorials are so encouraging. You say, and I so appreciate Tinna's honesty, where she says, you know, the row after your foundation row, then to start at the back and work, that is sort of really a pain to do that, but it is also very rewarding because it gives you this fantastic perfect edge. You see how perfect that edge is, because it looks like it comes out of nowhere. And I am doing a temperature blanket, and I actually want to try a border like this on my temperature blanket. So this has given me so much that I am definitely taking with me, making part of my own repertoire. Let me show you just very quickly the temperature blanket that I am busy with. And this is what it looks like. So you can imagine how beautiful a mosaic border would look on this. This does not have any yarns here because I used the magic knot, but after all, I think to myself, I'm going to put a mosaic border on this blanket. So I tell you, learning how to do mosaic crochet, I'm so grateful I did it. And anyway, I hope you enjoy, and leave me a comment on if you've started on it, and if what you've made, which patterns you've bought, and what you've tried. If you haven't joined the Facebook group of OM Granny Square, please join and show us what you've done, and I would love to see. And thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope that you will have an absolutely blessed week. Thank you. Bye bye.